My mother was involved in the spiritualist church. I do remember that her involvement used to cause a lot of conflict between her and my father. She had a very spiritual outlook to life, whereas my father was completely the opposite. He was a good man. He didn't believe in the supernatural. He didn't even really believe in God. Our first house was a Victorian house in Highgate, Shepperton. It was actually haunted, and it wasn't a very nice ghost. It used to speak. Usually when my parents were out, I could never understand what it was saying, but there was a distinct voice, although it was actually coming out of the wall. On 2 or 3 occasions, I glimpsed a figure in the corridors. I told my father, he said, "Don't talk such nonsense, you know, the ghosts don't exist." But my mother's attitude was, yes, there may be something here, but don't be frightened of it. She explained a lot about the nature of, if you like, ghosts, unexplained apparitions. Unfortunately, my mother died in 1959. That had a tremendous impact on me. I felt as though somehow I'd lost part of my life. I was only 13 years old. I rebelled against school. I just refused to learn anything. I just didn't think material knowledge was important. And it's because I just persistently refused to learn and do homework and upset the other boys. They asked me to leave. This was Hendon Preparatory School. Then I went to a boarding school in Sussex. I actually ran away from school twice because I just wanted to get home again. First time I was apprehended by a teacher. The second time I got back to London. My father sent me back again. Apparently the headmaster said, "Look, he's just not really learning anything. You might as well take him away from the school." The third school was Weymouth. That was a private school. It was in the days when everybody had short back and sides. I refused to get it cut, and he said, "Well, I'm going to give you a choice. You get your hair cut or you're going to have to leave the school." So I said, "I prefer to leave the school." I went travelling around Europe for a short while. I was very young, I was only 15. And I hitchhiked down to Marseille. I was doing odd jobs down there. Picking grapes, picking pears, moving deck chairs on the beach. And I ended up going down to Sicily. I was working in a hotel. It was the off-season, so I was quite lucky to get a job. I came back when I was 16, 17. I sought out friends of my mother's, her acquaintances that just attended the spiritualist church. I ended up meeting a lady who was herself a high priestess in Wicca. I was actually initiated into it in 1964. It's a religion based on the powers of human psyche, understanding consciousness, finding powers in the cosmos, powers in consciousness within ourselves. In the mid-60s, witchcraft slowly became fashionable. Once something starts getting fashionable, it attracts people that want to sort of use it for personal gain.
Witchcraft, I would say, is the exercise of occult forces which might or might not involve the worship of the devil.
They actually believe that they are worshipping the true God, the God that governs over the material world. I was trying to reach that power that gave everything life.